Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Franchise Hockey Manager 8 here with the Buffalo Sabres. It's July 1st. I decided to sim ahead a day instead of making you guys sit and watch my game sim ahead. We had a couple of trades that were made. We'll go back and take a look at those. Patrice Bergeron retires. So at 37, coming off of a 58-point season, Patrice Bergeron calls it quits. $1,064 points in just under 13 games for one of the best two-way forwards to ever play the game. Patrice Bergeron retires. Nick Bonino retires. Jeff Carter retires. Clutterbuck, Franzen, Getzlaf, Hornqvist, Phil Kessel walks away from the NHL. James Neal, Kyle Okposo retires, which is fine. We're going to let him go anyway. Corey Perry, Mike Smith, Anton Strahlman, Brett Connolly, Derek Ryan, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Development report, 3 players get worse that we aren't bringing back anyway, so that's fine. Top-selling jerseys, Tarasenko, the top-selling jersey in the NHL. Shattenkirk potentially being traded. Dustin Brown retires. Jonathan Bernier, Ben Bishop, Nick Foligno, Jaro Halak, Wayne Simmons, Ryan Suter, Martin Jones, our board confidence. They're very happy with us. That's good. Let's look at some of the deals. Troy Steckert to the Blackhawks for a 5th. Damon Severinsen to the Blackhawks for a 3rd. Frederick Gauthier to the Sens for a 3rd. Miles Wood to Columbus for a 3rd. That seems like a pretty good deal. Retirements. Holland is retired. David Poley is retired. We've had 2 scouts retire, so we're going to have to go back in and hire a couple of scouts, which we'll do right now. Scouting. Where do we need scouts? We don't need scouts anywhere, I guess. Yeah, we're still at 20 across the board, so we don't need scouts anywhere. We do, however, need to set our annual finances. We raise our ticket prices, I think, at this point. Let's spend some marketing points. Let's raise development. And I don't want to raise, we don't need to raise our budget. I think we're fine there. But let's spend on marketing. Let's spend on development. We can't increase our capacity, increase the ticket prices a little bit, and we'll add some maintenance to the stadium as well. So cool. So we'll do that. Do we have anybody? Do we have any contracts that we can? I know sometimes you get that one-time buyout where you can just get rid of them. And we'll place Skinner on waivers. I mean, worst case scenario, nobody claims him and we just pull him back. But all right. So where do we stand? Let's see. Let's look at cap obligation. I want to look at. So where are we? We're at $54 million. That doesn't seem right. I guess we are $54 million. Okay, $54 million. We're gonna have to re-sign Middlestat. Okay, so I think we're better off than I thought we were, frankly, in terms of our yeah, we got all sorts of money to spend. $31 million to spend in free agency. Where do we want to spend it? So we're all set. We're okay in goal. Defensively, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Bryson, you know what? Let's make sure we go down here and let's call up the players that we are going to make sure are on our roster next year. So Johnson, I think, will stay for the time being, unless we see some improvement during the offseason. But Quinn will come up. I think it's time to call up Paterka, only with an 11 defensive. I don't like that offensive rating. I really want to call up Ryan Johnson, but I want to see that defense improve just a little bit more. So defensively, we've got Klingberg, Jokiharju, Laxinen, Bryson, Dahlin, and Power. So I think we need a defenseman. I'm not crazy about going into the season with both Laxinen and Power. in my top 6. So a defenseman, I think, will be necessary. Our forward lines, assuming everybody is healthy, Cousins, Studnicka, Quinn, and Blickfield on the left, Eichel, Shaw, Middlestat, Kubalik, Ruotsalainen. Yeah, we could use a forward too. Excuse me. Probably to replace Asplund. I mean, not that Asplund's been. I mean, he's basically average across the board. But we're definitely going to need a defenseman and maybe a forward. So I guess let's start with the trade block. I want to see if there's anybody on the trade block, because I mean, there's some stuff I've been thinking about. Yeah, there's nobody here right now that I'm. Oh, and we got Skinner, who we're gonna have to call back eventually anyway. And I don't think that we can. Yeah, occasionally you get the option where you kind of get amnesty and you could just cut bait with somebody. So I was hoping we could do that with Skinner, but I'm thinking about trading. Thinking about trading Jack Eichel. Just thinking about it. If I can get somebody who is maybe a tiny bit worse, but who is potentially a lot younger and maybe has the room to grow, that might be something I consider. I mentioned last episode, and I just want to see something. I mentioned last episode, I talked about Nathan McKinnon. I'm just curious. Where is he? Right there. Eichel. Let's just see. Sabres players. It's hardly likely. Okay. I just wanted to see. I mean, McKinnon's making more money. He's a year older. I was just curious. Like I said, I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen, but that's, you got to at least think about it, right? All right, so let's look at free agents. So we got plenty of money to spend. I mean, we have $30 million for free agents, but only $16 in cap space. So we got to keep that in mind. Merkley re-signs with San Jose. Jordan Kyrou signs with St. Louis. Ty Smith re-signs with the Devils. Any other major contracts in here? Nope. All right. So Roop Hintz is on there, but again, I think he only had 9 goals. Wow. Oscar Sundqvist, Adam Ern, and Craig Smith. Ugh. All right, well, I guess let's start with defenseman. That was one of the things we had talked about. And I wouldn't be above just bringing back Clefbaum. So let's start with defenseman. Let's look at our defenseman. Clefbaum was really good for us last year, frankly. So we may just bring him back. He looks like he's really the best of the bunch. I'm not a Gostisbehere fan, so let's just talk to Clefbaum. 3 years at $4 million. Yeah, I mean, and I would even go up to 4,250, which is about $1 million off of what he was asking for last year. So, yeah, I'm good with that. So if we can bring Clefbaum back, that'll help. Let's filter and let's look at forwards. There wasn't a lot there, really. I mean, not a ton in free agency. We got a couple of... Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to go after a couple of these college free agents and just try to improve the depth here. I mean, why wouldn't we? Robert Mastro Simone. Let's look at him. Yeah, a couple of good players. I mean, again, it's depth right now, but depth is good. I mean, I'm getting tired of putting going down into the minors and pulling up some 2-star players. So that being said, what do we want to do? I mean, Gergensen's walked. We're not going to re-sign Van Riemsdyk. What does Hintz want? I mean, he wants nearly $6 million, and he scored 9 goals in 50 games last year. I mean, the ratings are there, but is that really worth it? Poor, reached his full potential. Good vision, stronger than most. Weakest part is his physicality. Yeah, I mean, he's a 15-goal scorer. And I don't know that I want to pay a 15-goal scorer that kind of money. Now, maybe someone like Craig Smith, he's a little bit older. But that means he might come for cheaper. 2 years at 5.3. Yeah, not really. Not really. Riley Nash. Radulov? No. Not a lot here. Maybe we wait for the... Oh, let's go back to the trade block. Let's go back to the trade block. Radek Faxam. He's good defensively. Tatar. What's his contract? He's making $5. I don't want to pay Thomas Tatar $4 million a year. Yeah, there's not even really anybody on the trade block either. So I think from a free agent perspective, if we can land, first off, Clefbaum and Mastro Simone, that gives us the depth in the forward lines, and it gets another defenseman back. And if we did that, so we'd have Bryson, Dahlin, and Power on the left, Klingberg, Yokiharu, Clefbaum on the right, with Laxinen our 7th and Ryan Johnson in the minors as our 8th. I mean, I'm okay with that. Dahlin has struggled, and his contract is up this year, so we may need to re-sign him. He doesn't want. That's not a terrible deal. We may actually. Let's talk to him now. I mean, 3 years. So let's go 3 years. Let's start at 7,250 and see if. So 7,750. So let's go up to 350. Okay, I was hoping to get him for 3 years at about 7.5. So, all right. So 3 years at 7,450. That's only a year and a half raise, or $1.5 million a year raise, which I think is fine. Yeah, I mean, Ruotsalainen just got better. His offense is up to a 15. So our lines will be Eichel, Olofsson, and Cousins on the top line. The second line, again, Middlestat will be our second line center with Kubalik and Studnicka. Our third line will be Shaw, probably Fisher and Quinn maybe. And then the fourth line, Asplund, Ruotsalainen, and Blickfield. I guess, with the two young players that we just signed as our 12th and 13th, or our 13th and 14th forwards. Yeah, I guess that'll work. So let's sim ahead a day. Skinner may be done. I don't think he'll be done because I don't think anybody's going to take him, but we will see. So let's get ahead a day. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to be super active in free agency unless some of those contract demands come back. I do want to, like I said, I do want to bring Clefbaum back. I think he was pretty good last year, and the fact that he's asking for less now than he was a year ago or during the regular season is a good thing. We'll get to the second. All right, so we are on the second. So if I release Skinner, all right, so Dahlin signed the contract, which is good. Mastro Simone is good. Clefbaum is good. Okay. Vladislav Nemestikov sent to the Bruins for Jeremy Lauzon. Galchenyuk gets traded for like the 12th time in his career for Nolan Stevens. Oh, the other thing we need to do is, so Robin Salo traded for Dylan DeMello. Jack Ashan traded to the Blue Jackets for Tim Gettinger. And J.G. Pajot for Cade Nielsen. I forgot to look at our unsigned. Anybody here that... I guess we have to sign him. Or he'll... Yeah, we have to sign him or he goes to his... to the... whatever team holds his rights. Poltapov, we still have time. Portillo, we still have time. Nemestikov isn't ready. Yeah, I mean, look at all these we're going to be stacked with young players here, but that will also help us in a trade situation. So do we not have Skinner on our roster? So if I try to waive him, can I not? Yeah, see, I don't want to pay the $32 million. So, all right. Okay, well, he's on the team. That's fine. Let's sim ahead another day. Jeff Skinner has cleared waivers. Release him and pay $2.68 million for the next 8 years. Ooh. I think I'm going to do that. That clears up cap space really every year. I mean, he's due to make $9 million this year. Yeah, we're going to do that. All right. I don't know if that was the right move. It feels like it was the right move because it freed up a bunch of space for us. If we look at our cap obligations, he's not on here anymore, but we do owe him money. So we have plenty of money to take on a big contract at this point if we want to now. So let's go back to transactions. These are our upcoming free agents. Yeah, so we are going to have to re-sign. And that's the other thing is we're going to have to re-sign like everybody on this list except for Barré-Boulet. And maybe Ruotsalainen. Maybe Blickfield. Probably won't re-sign him either, but especially with some of the young depth. But I definitely want to re-sign Middlestat, so let's talk to him. Oh, that's a no-brainer. 3 years. So let's start at 2,875. No, we'll just start at 275. He wants 3-1, so let's bump that up to 2.8. 2.9. We should be able to land somewhere right in there. He's still happy, so I can still negotiate. All right, so 2.9 for 3 years for Casey Middlestat. I'm good with that. We'll talk to Bryson in a little bit. Not convinced there. I'm not convinced on Jokiharju. So the rest of these guys we'll kind of wait on, but I think the trading block has changed at all. No, in fact, it's gotten worse. All right, so let's get up to... And we'll just keep simming a day at a time here until we get up to the draft. And I'm assuming that once we get to the draft, I don't want to be Canada's national team head coach. Once we get up to the draft, I imagine the trade block will change. Want this to go too far ahead. All right. So we sign Middlestat. We sign Ryan Johnson. Adam Lowry for Lindeval. We haven't signed any of our players yet, except for Middlestat, which is fine. Mark Barberio signing overseas. Good for him. Gospisere. Washington, Vegas, and Montreal. Okay, so no changes yet. Sim ahead to the 5th. I think the draft is the 6th. We got a couple of days here. So nothing yet. We still haven't signed any of our free agents. Let's go ahead one more day. Yeah, I think the draft order announcement is tomorrow, so we'll get to that. Like I said, I think once we get to the draft, we should see the trade block open up, And we might make a splash. I don't know if a late first round pick is really going to do it for me. So maybe we take a late first round pick and some of those. So we did sign Ryan Johnson, which is good, and take some of those unsigned players we have. And yeah, I mean, first off, Clefbaum and Mastro Simone are all favoring our offer. Sorry, my coffee looks weird. Oh, it's just the type of milk I'm using, I guess. Oh, we could bring on an Aiden Hill as a goalie. What does he want? He wants more money than what we're paying our current backup. So no, we're good. All right, so the draft. Let's see if trade block has changed, and it has. Yep, that's kind of what I was expecting. So, seeing what we see here, who's the most tempting? Not Kane, not Stamkos. They're too old. Samsonov wouldn't be a bad selection. We've got so many goalies on their way up, though. We can look at Kasperi Kapanen. Braden Shen, he's 31, but that's not a bad... Patrick Laine. Alex Tuck. I would rather get somebody who signed for a couple of years. So I've pretty much convinced myself that we're going to do something pre-draft here. So it's just a matter of finding the player that we want and then making a run at them. And I'm back up in this territory. I mean, I'm thinking about what's Shen making? 886. That's a crap ton of money. I mean, he's really good, but that's a crap ton of money. Kapanen I like. Anders Lee? What's his contract look like? That's even worse. Pavel Zacha, TJ Oshie. Come back to Nick Backstrom or Kuznetsov. He was like $8 million, right? Yeah. Maybe we can do something like this. But is that just... That's just this year, I'm assuming, right? That's just retaining this year. So if we do something like that, what would it take to make this work? I'd rather not give up, obviously, any of my high-end talent. Give up Barbashev. And then draft picks. We have... Give you our second. That's so much money, though, for Braden Shen. He's coming off a 57-point season. 76 game rating. Man, if he was like 28 instead of 31, I would do it. But I'm just afraid that you're going to... I mean, he's been consistent. I mean, the 2020-2021 season, he had 36 points in 56 games, but I give everybody a pass then. But he's basically been a 50 to 60 point scorer for the last decade. So his cap hit, $8 million, then it goes down to 6.5, then it goes... That's too much money. Because that's now we're paying a 30, 32, 33, 34, 36-year-old $4 million. It's just too much money. It's too much money. So let's get through the draft lottery, and we'll get to the draft, and then we'll sort it out. So Capitals at 16, Rangers at 15, Canucks at 14, Flyers get the number 13 pick, then the Devils. Everything's staying to schedule right now. The Ducks, the 11th, the Wild, the 10th, Lightning 9, Kraken 8th, Senators 7th, Caps 6th, Stars 5th. Blackhawks get the number 4 pick, which means the Sharks are going to move up. Red Wings get the number 3 pick. The Dallas Stars, the number 2 pick. And the San Jose Sharks will get the number 1 pick in the draft. Good for them. So what do I want to do here? I like Braden Shen. If that contract was like a year shorter or like a couple million less, I would be all for it. But I can't bring myself. We just cut Jeff Skinner, so I don't want to now just reinvest. Okay, so we did sign first off Clefbaum and Mastro Simone, which is great. So we'll give him 50, and we will give Mastro Simone 60. Excuse me. So now from a roster perspective, we're pretty much set. So we've got defensemen, Bryson, Dahlin, and Power, Clefbaum, Klingberg, and Yoki Haru. It's going to be Yoki Haru or Laxinen until Johnson gets better. I mean, it's not long before Johnson ends up taking over one of their spots. I mean, as soon as he hits that 2 stars, he's probably going to be ready. But Power, I'm leaving in there this year. He's going to start every game. Forward lines. Yeah, forward lines were pretty much set as well. Again, unless we can pick up unless we can find somebody on the trade block who's reasonable. Getting first off and Mastro Simone, I think, are really going to help us. First off is, I think, more ready, but they're both young college talent. So if they both have to start in Rochester, so be it. So it's time for the draft. So let's just go back and let's see if the trade block has changed at all between yesterday and today. It doesn't look like it. It looks like there's fewer names on there now. I wouldn't mind Alex Tuck. What's he making? That's a reasonable contract. Yeah, that's a reasonable contract. Let's talk about Alex Tuck. See what we can get. See what it's going to take to pick him up. All right, so Tuck. Let's look at our player rights. And again, we're going to start with the players that I don't want to say I don't have any interest in, but players that I'm willing to give up, I guess. Players that I'm not going to cry if I lose them, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. What about our third? So Bloom, Novikov, McGroarty, and a third for Alex Tuck. I have to increase it a little. All right, so what if we remove that and we put in that? Does a second increase it enough? No. Okay. So let's go back to players. Who do we have on our roster that we're willing to give up? I'm willing to give up Rutsalainen. I'm willing to give up Blickfield. I think we're going to have to leave the draft pick in there. So let's go back and let's put that third round pick back in there. And let's go back to players and Asplund. Nope. Rutsalainen. Nope. All right, so I think it's going to have to be a 3-star style player, which I don't have a lot of 3-star players that I really am keen on giving up. What about Laxinen? Nope. Okay, so let's go back here. So it's still, so these guys don't even, okay, so that just, that's what changes it. I wanted to kind of see where that tipping point was. So we have Bloom on there, so we can add McGroarty back and Barbashev. I mean, I'm not giving up Poltapov or Portillo or Nemestikov or Ivanov or Saganuk or Kisakov, really. I mean, all those offensive ratings, I mean, he won't ever be a defensive dynamo, but he's going to be elite offensively when it comes down to it. I'd rather not give up Luke Mittelstadt. What if we add... Okay, so we're taking a hit to our depth here, our unsigned depth, but I think I'm okay with that. Bloom, McGroarty, Barbashev, Novikov, and a third for Alex Tuck, who signed for the next 3 years. Can I replace any one of these young players, if I take Barbashev out and put in one of these forwards that I'm willing to move on from, like Ruotsalainen. Okay, so you don't want Ruotsalainen. Who am I looking for? Asplund. All right, so I think that's the kind of the tipping point there. So if I take Novikov out and I come back to my rights and put Barbashev back in there, does that do it? Okay, that's fine. So we'll trade Asplund, Bloom, McGroarty, Barbashev, and a third for Alex Tuch, who signed for the next 3 seasons. Let's go ahead and finalize the deal. There is our trade, improving our offense. We pick up Alex Tuch. So we're going to have some decisions to make about who's going to be playing center for a lot of these lines, but I think, it's a good problem to have. So this allows us to put Tuch on the second line and move Studnicka to the third line. So that third line now is going to be Shaw, Studnicka, and Quinn, which I think is, pretty cool. It's a pretty young line. It should be fun. But now it's time for the draft. So let's get to it. And I don't think we're going to trade up. Wow, he is a stud. Connor Bedard at 17 years old. Look at these crazy, crazy ratings. Wow. Oh, it doesn't look like a very good draft. Okay. Now let's just kind of see how it goes here. Connor Bedard goes to the San Jose Sharks, as expected. Matvei Michkov to the Dallas Stars, although he's already contracted to the K, so you wonder how long he's going to be there. Quentin Musty to the Red Wings. I mean, if Yeager falls another 4 or 5 picks, maybe we can trade up. But there he goes right there to the Blackhawks at 4. Dylan McKinnon out of Halifax to the Stars, who have the number 2 and the number 5 picks, so they regroup nicely. Luke Laughlin to Washington. We'll just do the top 10, and then we'll go down to our pick. Tyler Peddle to the Ottawa Senators, a center. Dalibor Dvorsky to the Kraken at 8. Riley Heidt to the Tampa Bay Lightning at 9. And Zach Benson to Minnesota at 10. It doesn't look like there's anybody here. Maybe a Nate Danielson that I'm super crazy about trading up for. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and go to our pick. So we got a lot of 3-star players to choose from. That's fine. Risky suggestions, they think we should take another goalie. I'm not taking a goalie. Safe suggestions, they think we should take Ethan Medema out of the OHL. He's a pretty good 18-year-old, that's for sure. He's a living legend locally, playing for the Windsor Spitfires. Scouts think we should take Cam Squires out of the Q. Develop into a good player. Jack Studnicka. What I really want to find is somebody who our scouts say, this person could end up, may have untapped potential that other scouts haven't seen or whatever it is that they say. I think Medema's the pick. Otto Stenberg, Cameron Allen as a defenseman. Wow. Offensive-minded defense. Look at those offensive ratings. I think Cameron Allen is the pick. Wow. He is good offensively for an 18-year-old. Yeah, we're going to take Cameron Allen. We will take him. And then we have 2 second-round picks and then nothing until the 5th. So that's fine. They still want us to take the goalie. I don't want to take the goalie. They think Justin LaRose out of Victoriaville, the Victoriaville Tigers, a 19-year-old left wing, 6 foot, 197 pounds, had 35 points in 68 games. Looks pretty well-rounded. Maybe he looks like he's going to be a physical player, bit of a physical player. But he's got decent ratings across the board. Colby Barlow had 18 goals last year for Peterborough. Looks like he had 48 points in 62 games overall. Again, another pretty well-rounded player. 6'1", 209. Kudravstev. I like him, but I don't want to have to say his name. Lucas Dragovic. Some pretty good defensemen in this draft. Wow. Matteo Fabrizi. He's pretty good as well. Barlow is going to be an offensive forward. Yeah, his ratings look that way. I think I'm going to go defenseman again. Kirill Kudravstev. I think. Good shooting range. Decent offensively. Physical. He's intelligent. Yep. Out of Sault Ste. Marie, we will take him with one of our second-round picks. Let's get to our next pick. Scouts think we should take Jake Todd, a 17-year-old out of the queue. He looks okay. Matthew Pelletier out of Niagara. He looks actually better. He's 18. Grayson Swatchin. They still want us to take a goalie. They still want us to take... I'm not going to take an overager in the second round. He is the highest rated player in the draft still. Emil Harventy goes to Providence right now. Yeah, I like him. Emil Harventy. Good physically, good offensive ratings. Where did he go? Right there. All right, so now we go, I think, to the 5th round before we pick again. They think we should take Peter Moravec. I'm not going to do that. Leo Carlson is simply a free agent. He doesn't play anywhere. Okay. Safe suggestion, Trey Johnson. Brandon, the WHL. Looks to be okay. Yeah, we're at that point where we're not really going to find anybody elite. So Will Smith goes to Northeastern. Yep, I like Will Smith, the 18-year-old. He's a big kid, 6'2", 187, but good ratings for an 18-year-old. Good physically, good offensive ratings. So Will Smith will be our 5th round pick. They think we should take Ryan Fine as a risky pick. Oh, that's a scout. And then risky, again, it's Moravec, Alvarez, and Tadeusz Talafa. Another offensive-minded defenseman who can't really play defense. I don't think there's a home for him with those ratings. Tommaso DeLuca, no. Who's the biggest kid left in the draft? Nikolai Hakala, a 19-year-old. He's 6'6", 231 pounds. Obviously very physical. A 19-year-old Finn. Nolan Flamand. No, he's no good. Dawson Seitz, he might be the pick. Yep, I think we're going to go Dawson Seitz. Good offensive ratings. Big kid, 6'1", 203 at age 18 years old. Pick him. And let's get to our last pick. Santeri Koskela. We don't know much about him. And he could be nothing. Moravik. Yuck. Do we just go with a safe pick? I think we can finally take Talafa here. We'll take Talafa in the 7th round. That's fine. All right, so there is the draft. I don't know that there are going to be any more moves we're going to make. I feel like we did a pretty good job. We brought back Oscar Klefbom for 3 years at just over $4 million a year, which is about $1 million less than he wanted initially. We have Ryan Johnson and Laxinen as our defensive backups. We signed Firstoff and Mastro Simone, a couple of college free agents. We traded for Alex Tuck. And we have a crap ton of young players kind of on the verge. Matthias Samuelsson, I don't want to forget about him. He's already 23 years old, but that defense rating of 16 is elite. So there's definitely a home for him. In fact, we should probably just put him on the roster now and then sort it out when we get to training camp. We have a ton of unsigned, really talented young players. That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go here. A ton of, we got to sign. So this will be next year. So Ivanov needs to be signed next season. I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll probably just let him continue to play in the K. He's 19. That's fine. We got Portillo, who's on his way. He's still got 4 years before we have to sign him, but we'll probably sign him before that 1.5 star, 4.5 star. Once he hits that 2-star mark, he'll probably replace Lankinen. So we have Lankinen for this year and next. Once Lankinen is done, Portillo comes up and we'll play with Pekka Luukkonen. We've got Kisakov, who I think he's got 1 year left. He may be somebody we need to sign just to keep him from re-signing in the K. I don't want to be trying to sign him at 24, 25 years old. So if that rating improves, if you can get that up to a 2-star during the season, that may be the option. Saganuk, we may sign him as well. Good offensive rating, good physically. We may sign him as well, just to keep him from signing someplace else long-term. Nemestikov will probably sign. Yeah, a lot of these. Poltapov, Nemestikov, Saganuk, Kisakov, and Portillo will probably all be signed at the end of this upcoming 2023-2024 season. So, draft review. I'm surprised the Stars weren't in there having 2 of the top 5 picks. So the Golden Knights, they're claiming, had the best draft. Otto Stenberg, Daniil Butt, that's a name, Theo Lindstein, Jesse Nurmi, Arttu Karki, Leo Carlson, Michael Hrabal, and Lenny Haminaho. Blackhawks, Canadians, and Kraken had the worst draft, which is not good for Seattle, given that they are not very good to begin with. Cool. So that is where we stand. So I'm going to sim ahead. I think we'll come back at the Hall of Fame induction. So we'll come back at Hall of Fame induction. We'll get up to training camp. We will call it an episode there. Yeah. So I think that's about where we are. So I'll be back at I'll be back right before Hall of Fame voting. All right, we are back. It is time for Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and I did make one more deal, and you may have seen it right there under the development report. I was trying to hide it, but dumb me left the wrong screen up. So I'll show you the trade that didn't go through. I was talking to the Caps about Kuznetsov again. They just wanted too much. I mean, I would have been okay with this deal, but this wasn't enough. So Rutsalainen, Barre Boulet, a third, a fourth, and Nikita Novikov to the Capitals for Kuznetsov. They didn't like that, so we didn't make that deal. Calgary has traded Blake Coleman to the Red Wings for a 19-year-old defenseman. Jake Leschyshyn traded to the Wild for Nick Bjugstad. So Leschyshyn, the leading rookie scorer last year, goes to the Minnesota Wild. And we pick up 36-year-old Blake Wheeler from the Winnipeg Jets. Wheeler last season, 25 goals, 43 assists, 68 points, had 63 the year before that. He has been a consistent 20 to 30 goal scorer for his entire time in Winnipeg. And the return, what we had to give up to get Blake Wheeler was not much. We had to give up Arttu Rutsalainen and a third-round pick to the Winnipeg Jets. And they also retained 50% of his contract. So we're only paying Wheeler about $4.5 million this year. It's a one-year contract. He will give us center depth, which was one thing I was concerned about picking up Tuck being a defensive or being a wing, having Wheeler as a center. In fact, we are going to move him to center now just to get him out there. So, yeah. So we have added Tuck and Wheeler, Alex Tuck and Blake Wheeler, to our forward line this year. We are stacked, guys. We are a stacked club. Look at all these 3.5-star and up players we have on our roster. I am super excited. All right, Hall of Fame. Who made the Hall of Fame? Roberto Luongo. Good for Roberto. Panthers and Canucks. Patty Verbeek. I love me some Pat Verbeek. Very underrated winger back in the 80s and 90s, I guess. I remember him from the late 80s with the Devils and the Whale. But really good career. 1,000 points in 1,400 games. So Pat Verbeek makes the Hall of Fame. Bernie Nichols, Kings and Rangers mostly. Put up a ton of points in the mid-'80s. Got to play. I think he was traded. He was part of the Wayne Gretzky deal. So, actually, I don't think he was part of the Wayne Gretzky deal. No, he wasn't. He was not part of the Gretzky deal. He played with Gretzky. And the fourth, Vincent Dampoose, another very underrated player from the 80s and 90s. A lot of points, 1,200 points in 1,300 games. Canadiens mostly is what he's known for. Finished his career with the Sharks. But players from my childhood, Dampoose, Nichols, and Verbeek, and then obviously Luongo recently. So there's the Hall of Fame induction. There's our last trade. I'm now going to sim up to preseason, and we'll call it an episode. So, yeah, be right back. All right, we're back. It is time for, I guess, the preseason. So, yeah, let's go back and let's see what's happened since we last talked. So Edmonton trades Tyson Barrie to the Penguins for Justin Dezote. Dezote? Either way, it's a good deal for for the Penguins. Ottawa has Carlson on the block. Tanner Pearson traded to Arizona for a second. Evander Kane and a fifth to the Red Wings for Tyler Brennan and a seventh. Ooh, good deal for the Sharks, getting a franchise-style goalie. Anthony Richard for Carter Richardson. Philadelphia wants to trade Carter Hart, really. Okay. Top-selling jerseys. Alexander Radulov has the top-selling jersey in the NHL. Jack Eichel still the top for us. Connor Bedard signed with the Sharks. No surprise there. Detroit trades Calvin Pickard for a third-round pick. Dmitry Orlov for Dmitry Yaskin. Logan O'Connor for Ole Eriksson Ek. Mark Giordano traded for Curtis Gabriel. Matt Luff for Cam Talbot. And we have to set our captains. So let's do that. Let's look at the mental ratings, leadership. Eichel is listed, so we'll make Wheeler one of our alternates. And who's going to be the other alternate? Klingberg, I guess. Yep, Klingberg will be the other alternate. All right. And we are set. We're not going to set our roster this time. We will do it next episode. But we are pretty darn stacked right now. Again, we bring in Blake Wheeler, Alex Tuck, Vladislav Firstov, and Robert Mastro Simone. Mastro Simone and Firstov were unsigned college players. We traded for Wheeler and Tuck, brought back Clefbaum. Luukkonen's up to 2.5 stars. We are going to be a very, very good hockey team this year, assuming we don't get injured. Speaking of that, let's look at our staff real quick. Our trainer is just okay. And we have had some issues with injuries, so let's go in here and let's see if there is a better trainer. Player management. What do we want to look at? What's the best way to look at? It's not training, right? Yeah, it's not training. That's trainer. Where are the trainer skills? Miscellaneous skills? It's tactics. Job ratings. Trainer. There we go. That should be what we want to look at. So a 15 is not the... There we go. That's what we want. Ivan Francesco Abba is a 20 skill rating. Why can we not hire him as a trainer? Do we have to fire our other trainer? Rick Stinzanio. Release trainer. We'll pay him $24,000. We'll come back in here and we'll do that all over again. Owner, pull out the coaches, pull out the scouts, pull out the head coach. And let's go to job ratings. Trainer. Can we sign him now? We can. Excellent. So let's bring in a new trainer who is rated excellent, and hopefully that will limit our injuries. So, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Next time, we will get through the preseason, and we'll get through the first month and a half of the season. So let me know what you think of our off-season moves, and where you think we're going to end up. Are we going to finish first? Are we going to finish second? Or are we going to finish in third again? We finished in third 2 straight seasons. What's on tap for the 2023-2024 Buffalo Sabres? I appreciate you watching, guys. Thanks for the support. I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.